Here we go, another belated Misspent Summers event wrap up. This time EWS Tweed Valley in Scotland, in Leith, Scotland. Man, it's been 8 months, 8 full months since the last Enduro World Series, also which was here in Scotland. And it seems like a long break, but in reality the season was long ago scheduled to start earlier. But because of the ongoing after effects of COVID, having Australia and New Zealand early in the season just wasn't feasible, so wisely it was cancelled as early as last year. So here we are, 8 months later, and season kicks off. It's been also, since 2014 is the first time we visited this area for an EWS race, and wow, a lot has changed since then. The whole format's changed, but more specifically in particular to this venue, you've got this huge, big organization now. It really is a big undertaking to host an EWS, and this is kind of the EWS headquarters as well. So you've got this huge army of staff, and even bigger army of volunteers. Yet having said that, you have this huge pool of local people to draw from that are so passionate about mountain biking. You also, it seems like a small personal affair. A lot of the marshals and spectators, they all seem to know the riders by name. So yeah, it's just a whole good vibe out in the valley here, and how these businesses and areas prosper when the EWS comes to visit. I mean, we've all seen the success that Derby's had, places like Einsa in Spain. You've got 1,000 to 2,000 people with family and staff hanging out in the valley for a week, and that's a huge injection into the economy, not to mention the after effects. So good to see this becoming like almost like a proper bike town, and they've got all the things that go along with it, and have all the coaching schools and the huge little kids everywhere on bikes, on push bikes, pedal bikes, and a lot of the riders were here a week earlier helping with coaching and doing all of that. So a good long week plus calendar for many. What else have we got here? The trails is always going to be tricky when you're hosting a double round, an EWS and an EWS. So we had like 13 stages in the EWS, and then the 6 stages. And when you add in the shakedown stage, that's 20 stages. A few tiny shared bits of the EWS race from the main one, but essentially you've got 20 different tracks that need to be maintained, prepped, repaired after, taped. Not a lot of places can have 20 tracks. Maybe not a lot of people or venues want to have 20 of their tracks used by the amount of traffic an EWS creates. It also kind of leaves a small bit of a problem, which I foresee. When you have 13 EWS stages and then 6, there's not a lot of stages left in any one area. As a result, this year we saw quite a few repeat stages. 80% or so, if not more, of the stages were raced in some way, shape or format. But what was nice to see on even some of the repeat stages, either in the beginning or the middle, there was reroutes and new sections built, and really, really good new sections. I guess that's one of the things when you're blessed with 700, 900, 1,000 meters vertical for stages. You can't really make the entirety of the stage just really good and bang for your buck, because there's too much linking bits in between bits, or it's just physically too long or expensive or steep or whatever the case may be. But when you've got these little hills with not much elevation, we've seen it in Derby, in Carrick, we've seen it in a couple other places, Rotorua, all these places that have these 200-300 meters of vertical. What they do have, they have really, really good trail in between. Not in between, the entirety of the trail. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. And not only that, the trail builders here are just, they've got the good mix. It feels like you're riding raw terrain, but it's definitely, bike trails. So as a result, it serves well for blind riding. You get a feel for trail. You can do one practice run and get up to speed really quick, because there's going to be support. There's not going to be some crazy weird thing in the way that's going to catch you out. And this location also holds up well under the weather. We had bad, cold, wet, rainy weather in the beginning, and then it turned into the perfect race weekend with dry yet still greasy in places weather. Not a lot of slippery routes to catch the riders out, and the rocks that are there, maybe only stage 3 has the bottom third or the middle third is quite greasy and slippery on the rocks. Anyway, so dirt's good, rocks are good, roots are good. Not many roots, but it just serves for good racing, wet or dry. And what else? EWS, like I said, they had 34 minutes of racing. EWS, the pros only ended up having 5, would have had 6, with the one stage being scratched off. And if we did have it in the race, we would have just eked out 20 minutes of racing. Dan Booker had the fastest time on stage 2 until it was taken out. He did that in 2 minutes 38, so that would have been roughly another 2 minutes 30 on that to the total stage time, which gets us just in the, I think, mandated 20 minutes, only just. So yeah, going back to repeat stages, in the past, I guess it's inevitable at some time when you keep returning to venues, but in the past we used to visit a lot of new venues. The schedule was very different every year, and when you did return to old ones, we had often all new tracks on offer. And even the pro stage of this one was a very well used, well serviced old historical downhill track with a few retapings and a few little linking sections. So when is that right to have a trail that's that heavily ridden over so long as a pro stage of the event? Then again, maybe it is, because then maybe it's a bit more even for a lot of people that could have ridden here over the many years. Definitely, when you have such short, sharp tracks that can be memorized or practiced or ridden like downhill, there will definitely be some local advantage, and we'll see how that plays out in the results the rest of the year. But generally, there's always some round that suits somebody or some group of riders more than the other. And in this instance, we're also starting to see not a new trend, but being such a late start in the season, riders were visiting here a good couple of weeks ago and been sessioning quite heavily, and it seemed to be that the tracks everyone seemed to know what tracks were going to be raced, which is a bit of a bummer, but it is what it is with such a late start and people just getting itchy. The peppering and pampering of the trails was quite good, so hats off to the trail builders. And I guess it's also just the UK in general, these little push-up tracks, like when people and riders got to make the most of it, you're going hard from the beginning. So that's always been the style of the UK downhiller that's always done so well, and you get the lazy people that have chairlifts in their backyard and they're just riding the chairlift, and they're not eking every bit of speed out of every trail. So you definitely have people that grow up under those conditions have it serves them well for being a racer. What else is noticeable from here? I guess pace, much like in Lord, and more so in Lord than in Fort William. Being a first round, often for a lot of riders at the first race against the clock, how do you judge your pace? You might feel good on the bike, but if you haven't raced, you don't know how that good is going to stack up. And if you get the pace off wrong in over 20 minutes of racing, 3% off, that adds up to time. And as with downhill, in both the men's and the women, there's a lot of riders that will jumping in front of you in the results and just losing a couple of seconds. It never used to be the case. And on a shorter race, like a 20-minute race, you don't really have time to make that time back up, or see if you're off the pace after the first run or two to like quickly turn it up, because that time's gone. This being short races, we get 20 minutes of racing. We used to have up to just under an hour of racing. In other earlier couple of years ago EWS, maybe an hour's too much, but I'd certainly think when people have waited 8 months to only race for 20 minutes, it's always going to be tricky fitting in a EWS and a EWS, all the trails, as well as the lengthened race week for organisers, volunteers, media, and for riders that show up on Tuesday for shakedown, and then they only get to ride the tracks on Friday. So that's a long week. That's 3-4 extra days of food, accommodation, travel, budget. But then it does give you time to ride the other trails in the area, which is a good thing. You're traveling all around the world. You should ride more than just the racetracks and sample more than just the racetracks. Go into Edinburgh, and it's also good for the local economy. And I think that's partly, this is uplifting of all the local economies. You got people spending money in the town, and food and accommodation and all the rest. But that's a huge field when you have the two disciplines. You got 741 races in the EWS and another couple hundred in the EWS. So that's just under 1,000 riders. So yeah, they definitely packed in. Let's talk about the racing. Couple of fast riders got injured or had issues throughout the day. Adrian Daly was putting in some great results, as was Casper from Yeti that got injured on stage 2. He'd had a storm of 2 stages. And then Kellen Grant as well. So he finished, but had to blow his wheel and ripped his tyre off, and he had a couple of really good finishes. All the new Proof boys, in fact, were up there with results. Newcomer to the EWS, but not newcomer if you've been paying attention the last recent few years. Dan Booker from Tasmania, top 5 at his first EWS, perhaps. Trail builder from Medina and in Tasmania, and my money's on him if we ever racing in Medina and Tasmania. If that was an opening double header to a series, Dan Booker would be smiling right now in the future. Other just random stuff that jumps at me. Antoine Vidal, when he smooths out and gets consistent stage results across the day, he's going to just get stronger and stronger, be a force to reckon with. He has no fear, and he can turn it on and turn it up whenever. I'm sure you've seen his stump gap, which but interesting. Dan Booker, going back to him, another flat pedal rider on New Proof with Sam Hill, also the flat pedal rider, and just a good bike rider, not just a little EWS racer. Scroll through his Instagram. I think he's doing Blair Gang this weekend. So, but scroll through his Instagram, take a look at some of his little step on, step off manis and crack flips. Definitely got a deep skill set. In the men's and the women's, all the stage wins were taken by the top 3 riders, which I guess is not that surprising since they top 3. But it just does go to show, the top 3 are a little bit of a step above in this race. The others are close at the heels. And of course, the elephant in the room, Innes Graham, ex-World Cup downhill racer, and was here last year, and he was working as a photographer. He had a media bib on just like the rest of us squids, and wins the pro stage and another stage at the end, and yeah, third place, first ever race, first ever EWS race, and straight to the podium. So I guess those would be the two big stories of the week. And Sam Dale, another big one, just blue collar grit. I don't know if he ever trains. He's just strong. He rides his bike a lot. He loves to ride his bike a lot, but one wonders does he even train? He's just a bike rider. And he kept his top 3 pro stage. He kept it going and finished 7th overall. So hats off to Sam Dale. What else? Richie Rude, obviously, with a point to prove, I guess. And I guess more than that for him. He just wants to start the season good. But I guess he's vindicated from his race last year when he was DQ'd for that well too publicized incident now. And interesting enough, they did put additional course tape between the course tape and the gate to make it less confusing and less of a grey area than it was last year. It's just a pity it wasn't taped like that last year, because might have had a different outcome. Ella Conolly, local girl, but didn't look like it was local knowledge. She was just riding like as a stronger person, more aggressive, more attacking, which I guess if you're riding local trails you can do, but physically she just looked like she was going after it a lot harder this year. 3 stage wins, 3 seconds, race winner by 7 seconds. Bex Broder right near where she was last year, and Isabeau top 3, and Harriet just behind them. Just the depth, like in downhill with the women's, is just increasing. More top girls in the just smaller gaps and more of them, that can take stage wins and get on the podium. So just a continuing trend for the women in downhill, enduro, freeride, and just seeing how many little girls were out there as spectators and in these little kids races. The future in this area and everywhere is definitely bright with the women's racing. That is it, guys. You got some more interesting people to listen to. And signing out from the Bacher at Leogang.
Why don't you tell us exactly what you're doing 6 months ago here?
I was photographing, I was squidding like you guys.
You had a media bib on, huh?
But not doing as good a job. You guys are killing it. Thank you so much.
No, but talk us through that. What you had some injuries and then you stopped racing, or what was the deal?
Yeah, well, obviously racing World Cup downhill through junior and then a couple years of elite, but had many injuries, the worst one being a broken femur, which put an end to my so-called career. Yeah. And took some time off, did some completely other stuff, and then started coaching mountain bikes here in the Tweed Valley. Yeah. And that's actually progressed my riding so much. So just now
the thinking and breaking down the riding, or how has it progressed your riding?
Just maturity, whether it be on the bike or just in life. I think it's made a massive difference. Just not so reckless and a little bit more level-headed.
We've got a lot of from this valley. You've got Rory, yourself, Ayla, many more. What do you put it down to? It's such a small part of Scotland.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of talent. I don't think there's any such thing as talent. It's just a byproduct of opportunity and hard work. There's a lot of people doing good here, and I think it's having the right people in your corner and just enjoying it. There's endless amounts of trails and stuff, so you can't not get out on your bike.
Now, before the pro stage and before this weekend, you would have had a goal, or what you would have been happy with at the end of the weekend. What was the number that you were hoping to pull? Was it like a podium, a top 5, a top 10? What did you think was capable? You obviously know you're quick out, for starters.
Yes, home advantage for sure. But I've never been to an EWS other than last year, so I don't know the pace that these guys are riding at. I spoke to my flatmate who has done more enduros than me, and I was like, a top 30 would be good, and he was like, dude, top 30's fast.
Oh, really?
So I was like, maybe top 30, 40 or something, but...
So you might be the first guy in their rookie first EWS to come in and end up on the podium.
Hopefully.
I mean, it's happened, so you need hopefully you top 3, right?
Buzzing.
Shit, mate. Okay, so now obviously the rest of the year you maybe have to plan, shuffle a bit, and maybe need to think about how you match up on trails you don't know.
That's the plan in my head, but I'm going to have to beg.
You've got a full-time job as well.
I'm going to have to beg the day job for some time off, maybe some more holidays later on in the year, yeah.
Well, hopefully we see you at Petson at least, so you see how you go.
Respect, thank you very much, hopefully.
Sambo, it's kind of cool, Innes Graham and yourself, like, just taking it to these factory boys. You and Innes are very different people, but like you guys have both got full-time jobs, and not full-time jobs, you ride and you ride, your jobs are riding, but you do like other shit as well.
Any bit of cash work going, I'll take it, like.
Yeah. And top 10 and backing up last year as well, and different conditions.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a few people last year saying, he's just done well because he's wet and he's big and heavy, but...
That's not like necessarily a good thing, big and heavy.
Not true, mate, not here at all, because it's so narrow. Like.
I'm big and heavy and I don't go that fast.
Well, yeah, that's it, mate. And then you look at all the fast dudes and the little and lightweight. Like Jesse at the top, he was saying he was 68 kilo or something.
How many kilos are you?
93.
93? Fuck, bro, I think, fuck it.
91 on a good day.
We're pretty close then, eh? I'm like 95.
There we go.
Maybe I'm a bit more,
but yeah. So yeah, all week, well, last week I was just praying.
So,
for
dude,
rain.
so hang on. You could ride with the e-bike on your back and be the same weight as Jesse.
No, he could ride with an e-bike on his back.
Yeah, okay,
the same weight as me. Unless he made a helium or something.
Your maths and beer consumption is less or better than mine.
But yeah, I was.
Because these aren't your tracks, so like let's get that out there. You're not a northerner.
No, I've ridden them once since last year. When on the way back from Fort Bill National, I stopped and had a little ride. So they're all pretty. I mean, I sort of know them and know the terrain.
I mean, some of them are old BDS classics and some of them are old
local
trails.
But I mean, I know people that have been here for the last month and whatnot.
There's been a lot of that. I found maybe because it's the opening round and starting so late, but it's happening.
Yeah, I do think you can override a track and all. So yeah. But yeah, to back last year's up, improve on last year in the dry conditions, I was stoked, and it's tight and twisty. I got big shoulders. Punched one tree today, but other than that, I had a good day out. And
like you and Craig Evans, that you kind of ride a bit of everything. Like it's downhill bikes. What do you race on, a Bronson?
Yeah, Bronson.
But then you guys also ride the little bikes and like, what is your favorite bike out of all of the ones that you have?
I really like my Montesa 4RT.
Your what?
Montesa 4RT trials.
What the hell is that? Oh shit.
Moto trials.
Okay.
I think I'm Tony Bow on some weekends,
Okay.
But no, I do love this. I've been riding my V10 a bit though, which has been good because it's like, racing downhill, you're just like, everything's down to one run.
Yeah.
So that sort of helped with that, and just putting a good one down and getting in them little bitch cranks out of turns and stuff.
But now, when you have these top 10s and you smoke all these guys, does it make you want to do a full series, or are you kind of just happy with what you've been doing?
I think I'd really like to do a full one. Yeah. It's a tough one. It's a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of training.
A lot of effort.
It's got to be, yeah.
Especially for a 93 kg guy, right?
Yeah, innit?
A lot of effort.
And then normal life gets in way and all, so yeah, it's one of them, innit?
But I mean, you go to Europe and there's some chairlifts thrown in as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go do the last two for sure. I'm booked on for the Mega Avalanche and then hopefully do Enduro World Cup, so I don't know if I'll get to the next couple of rounds, but looking forward to some big alpine tracks and whatnot, get up to some speed.
Nice, Sambo.
Yeah.
Leave hope for the big guys.
Innit? Loves it.
All right, Booker, we're on 4%, bro. 4%. Tell me about expectations and goals coming in here.
Not this.
Because you were put on the team and then COVID happened and then you were like...
Yeah. So I was just on like a pretty low-key thing, just got some frames.
Yeah.
And then, at the start of this year, they were like, wanted me to come to Europe, so that was good. But, I wasn't expecting this.
What was your normal... I mean, you've been up there in the results.
Yeah.
People have been... If they've been paying attention, they've been knowing. But what is your, you got
My best EWS result was 25th before this.
Is that in
that was
Derby?
in Whistler.
Whistler.
In 2019.
And what is your normal life? What is your normal job?
Trail builder. So I was trail building
Until when? Like still trail building?
Nah, not. I finished up at start of 2020. Started 2021.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've just been trying to make it work since, which has been a bit dodgy. But
Give us the stats. Like, how old are you?
24.
What's your background? You like always been like a trail bike guy? Because a lot of guys have transitioned, like Sam, from downhill to enduro, but you must have grown up in the time of downhill as well.
Yeah, so I did some junior World Cups.
Yeah.
And then
Which ones did you do?
I did Cairns in Australia, and then I did
uphill sprint finish.
Yeah, Mont Saint Anne, Wyndham, and Andorra. And I didn't qualify for any, and then broke me back at Andorra. So it wasn't a very successful downhill career, but
flat pedals and enduro, fastest flat pedal guy.
Yeah, flat pedals always.
Is that like a Sam Hill thing in Australia, or like what part of Aussie are you from?
Tasmania.
Right. Born and bred.
Yeah.
And Medina was like, no one thought Aussie could get like 900 or 700 meters of vertical.
Yeah.
And you were one of the guys that just got digging.
Yeah. So Simon got us all out there. Whoa.
Yeah, these kids. Hey! Oh yeah, fucking little shits. The burritos, yeah, pretty good in terms of the burritos.
Good burritos, good when you've been eating bloody Cliff Bars and stuff all day.
Because you got that. What's that market called there in that famous market there?
Salamanca Market.
Yeah.
Did you go there?
Yeah, I went into Salamanca.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good spot.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I love Tassie.
Where in Tassie do you live?
In Hobart.
Okay, so that's the
Yeah,
Salamanca.
that's where Salamanca is.
Good burritos there. I don't think I saw a burrito there.
Nah.
Some weird sculptures and that. Like
a few burrito places, but yeah.
Local burrito spots. So you say you didn't. What was your goal coming in? Like, what was the number?
I didn't really have one. Like, I was dreaming podium, like as you do. Yeah.
So you knew you had some speed, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My thought is you're never going to get on the podium if you think you're going to come 30th.
Okay. Good.
So.
Good head. And Sam Hill, teammate, is not here, but like what kind of like you guys don't even get to ride much because he's on opposite ends of the world, really.
No. I only got to ride with Sam once, and that's how all the nuke proof stuff came about. He got back to Nige and told me to look after me. So yeah. Thanks Sam for that.
And John Dawson over at SRAM was trying to give you lots of nicknames. What has he come up with so far?
I think Garbage Can Dan's the latest.
No, but I told him like from Southern Hemi we call them like dustbin, and then he's I'm like, dude, it's dustbin Dan. He's like, oh fuck, it's way better.
Yeah.
So I think it's changed.
Yeah, right. I'll have to get a better one than that.
Yeah. Well, early days, and keep it rolling.
Cheers, mate.
Nice one.
Thank you.
So Ella, man, you got to be over the moon.
I am so like buzzing, but yeah, it's still I don't think it's sunk in. I'm just shocked.
Opening rounds of seasons are tricky because everyone trains, everyone wants to come back better, but you don't know how you're going to stack up. You don't know the pace. So like, what was your goal coming into this race? Let's start.
Well, I won't lie, I've been feeling pretty good, and I've got the bike set up dialed, which is really nice feeling. I was feeling kind of strong, so like I felt better than I did last year, but that's all I really knew coming into first race. So like yesterday was a nice surprise, like come second in the pro stage, and I was like, okay, yeah, no, I am on pace. But yeah, then to hold it together for a whole day, it was like, yeah.
And I should know this, but what was your best result before this?
I've had 2 third places before. So yeah, I've had 2 podiums, but they've both been third. So.
But you haven't even been in elite for that long.
No, yeah, I've a few years, but I've had a couple of half seasons with like broken elbow, COVID. I only raced once that year. Like last year, I missed a race. Like, this is probably my 4th year actually.
And to do it at home in front of the home crowd, you would have heard your name the whole way down.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Like all of the cheers all the way down the track have been crazy today. Like so loud. It's really cool to see so many people out watching. And
you and Ines both on the podium. Like, what is it about this part of the world that is this style of the trails? What is it?
So do you know what it is? I think that in Scotland, all the trails are quite short, so we spend quite a lot of time riding the same trails, and you session things, and you get fast because you hit the same trail quite a few times in a row in a ride.
It's kind of just like the British downhillers, you know?
Yeah.
Or the push-up trails.
Yeah, we don't have anything like most of the World Series races, but still managed to pull out. Yeah.
But then the rest of the season, bigger mountains in Europe. You're feeling good now. You got the confidence. You can do it somewhere else.
Yeah, no, this is what I needed. I think this a little, big boost to believe in myself a bit
little
more.
big boost
for sure. Yeah, a little big boost.
Man, super stoked for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You smile.
I'm fucking buzzing.
You're gonna have a stiff.
My cheeks are. Yeah.
All right, nice one, Richie. I don't know what do you call that? Not vengeance or justice, but after last year.
Yeah, obviously, not racing this round last year, I was really keen for it. So, being on the ride this year and it was dry, so I don't know, the tracks were just so fun. You could attack every single one. And, I was expecting, I wanted a top 5 this weekend, but, from the first stage, just felt so focused and in it. And I was just having a great time the whole day.
The times have been quite tight the last couple of seasons, but this one was almost like a time gap of the past.
Yeah, I guess we had 5 seconds going in the last one, which is tight, but it's weird how it's kind of a cushion as well compared to sometimes. But yeah, leads for some intense racing, which is always good. And
favorite stage of the day?
The last one was pretty good, but I don't know. They're all pretty fun, I guess. I would have liked to have ridden the first one.
So so you guys just pedaled across and then they averaged out. Did they give you a time by averaging out your next 3 stages or something?
I think they canceled the first one.
I can't completely.
Yeah, so we were hanging up there for a while and then I just liaison over.
Pretty easy day in the office then, eh? Short, 15 minutes?
I guess so, but only scuffed 2 trees, so that's a bonus.
I feel sorry for them. Good job, Richie.
Thank you.